Hello, I'm Alison David. I work at Farshore. We're a children's book publisher and we're part of HarperCollins. So we're really determined to help more children enjoy reading. And over the last 10 years or so, we've been researching and working with lots of families to find out ways to make that happen. And I'm going to share some of what we know. I really hope it's useful to you. So when children learn to read at school, parents often want to know if they need to continue reading to their children at home. And the answer is yes. And I think to understand why, it's very helpful to recognise that there are two very different aspects to reading. So one is being able to read, having the skills to do it, if you like, and one is choosing to read for enjoyment. If your child can read, it doesn't mean that they will want to, that they'll choose to read in their free time. So being able to read is obviously essential to get on in life, but it's reading for pleasure that brings the truly enormous benefits to children. Did you know that if a child enjoys reading and does it out of choice, it has a greater impact on their educational attainment in all subjects, even maths, for instance, than anything else? So greater than their parents' education, household income, where they live, their background in general, really. But the problem is that most school-age children don't think of reading as something that they could enjoy, and they're more likely to think of it as homework or linked to school or a chore than something to do for pleasure. Now, obviously reading homework needs to be done, but the thing is, if we parents focus on this alone, then we're kind of adding to the impression that reading is just about learning and a task. But children do choose to read, of course they do, if they think of it as fun and enjoyable. So our vital role as parents is to keep the fun in it, find the enjoyment. How do we achieve this? Well, a very simple and very effective solution, which you'll have heard me say before, is to read aloud to our children every day if we can, throughout the primary school years. And it works amazingly well. And this is because it completely changes the atmosphere around reading. It becomes an enormous treat for children. You know, they cherish the time that they have with mum or dad when they're being read to, and they become so enthusiastic about it. You may worry that if you read to your child, it will make them lazy. And even if they love it, clearly they love it, they still won't bother to read independently. But that's not the case at all. All the research and all the work that we've done with families shows it to be quite the opposite, that children are motivated by being read to, and so they read independently as well. So children who are read to also read themselves. As well as reading to them, we also need to help them find books that will interest and excite them, books that they're going to want to read themselves, and there are so many. So I'm from Farshore, so I'll just give you some examples to give you an idea, but honestly there are loads. So the first one I wanted to show you is for a really sort of beginning early reader, something like this. It's really not off-putting, you know, you can see it's so kind of accessible. Staying with that sort of theme, highly illustrated fiction like Amelia Fang, very engaging. Moving on again, graphic novels, you know, this is Great Expectations. So very appealing to children who might be put off by large amounts of text. Books that feed their passion. Minecraft is a passion for very many, as we know. Funny books are very engaging and a great way to spend time together laughing. So Mr. Gum's very funny indeed. Beano, wonderful. Adventure books, Amari, the Land of Roar series. There are so many. That's barely scratching the surface. To get ideas, well, your child's teacher is a great source. Librarians, school librarians, public libraries. How about your child's friends? Finding out what other families are enjoying. Browsing in bookshops, obviously, supermarkets. Secondhand and charity shops are amazing. I mean, once you start looking, you'll be completely amazed at the choice. But it's important that children get to choose the books themselves. So as all of us parents know, children find it very motivating if they're allowed to make decisions. And you can use this to great effect with books and reading. So here's a simple strategy that I want to share with you that you could try out. And it combines reading to your child and their own independent reading. So you read to your child at bedtime, you know, say for 15 minutes or so, and this should be a book that your child has chosen for you to read aloud to them. And then when you've finished, you allow your child a further 10 or 15 minutes to read on their own, a different book. You can leave the room and say you'll come back to say goodnight 10-15 minutes time. If they don't want to read on their own, that's fine, and so it's time to say goodnight now, turn the lights out. This strategy works incredibly well. It's so very rare for a child to choose lights out. Reading time gets chosen instead. And you can keep this routine going throughout the primary school years and you'll find your children absolutely love it. So reading to your child every day is the goal. And I know life is busy and it can be challenging to find the time, but I think if we know what an enormous benefit it will be, it helps keep it really top of mind. If you have more than one child and they're just a few years apart, you could read to them both together. Maybe let them take it in turns, choosing the books that you read aloud. And even though finding the time can be a challenge, it turns out that doing the reading itself is not a chore at all. So I've been told by all the mums and dads who've started doing this that it's such a happy, positive experience with their child, being close, having a cuddle and a really sort of happy bonding time. So it's incredibly important to keep the reading at home going, and this way you can support your child and encourage your child to read because they like it and because they want to do it. And children who read for pleasure simply do better in life. I can't think of a better reason than that to do this. So I hope it was useful. Thank you very, very much for listening.